I wanted to talk mostly about the community. The KDE Edu group, this is actually a picture from our last meeting in December in Paris. A bunch of us got together and talked about some things that we needed to finalize before the 4.0 release and where we were headed with the 4.1 release coming up. We call ourselves the E-team, kind of a joke that came up on IRC one time. But there are more than 22 of us from 10 countries, and that is not including the Google Summer of Code students that contributed quite a bit this last summer. There was 3 Google Summer of Code projects for Marble alone. And we already saw Marble today earlier, but I want to show you something that's interesting in it. Anne-Marie threw together a KML file, which is just an XML file of locations for all of the locations of the Edu developers. So here we have all of them in the east, and here we have the few of us over on the west end of the globe. And it is really simple to throw together, and we want to thank the Marble developers for adding that ability. The KML is a pretty standard format, right?
It's the format is defined for Google Earth.
Right. Google Earth defined the format. So Marble developers made it so we can import those into Marble. A little bit of brief history about KDE Edu. In 1999, first KEduca is a program for teachers. That was started based on KDE2. And then in 2000, K-Stars, K-Touch, and K-Vogtrain joined the kind of group, even though we weren't really a group at that time. And those 4 applications were some of the most popular KDE applications at the time. Then in 2001, the KDE Edu project was created based on those 4 applications. I think Anne-Marie was one of the original people that created the group. And then in 2002, the KDE Edu module was officially released with KDE 3.0 release. And now we've got at least 15 applications and more in Playground that are working on, and a couple more in just some ideas that people would like to do when they have the time. Some statistics about us. There are some distributions that are actually education-based, right? There's Edubuntu, there's Skull Linux. I think someone's here from Skull Linux, is that right? And anyway, and Debian Edu. And the educational software has to be able to run on small devices because, for example, the OLPC and the Classmate, they're distributed quite a bit to schools and used for education, right? And also the EEPC can run all of the education applications. And there are also some rather large deployments of KDE Edu software. About everyone that has heard of KDE knows K-Stars, as we found out earlier today, because that was the big demo app. But there are 8,000 computers in the Canary Islands that have KDE Edu on it. Actually, it's this Meduxa distribution. And then by the middle of 2009, around 1,100 schools will have Meduxa installed in the Canary Islands for their students to learn with. And more countries are following in their lead. Russia just recently came out and said that by the middle of 2009, they're going to have all their school systems using Arch Linux. And Arch Linux is a KDE-based distribution, very popular over there apparently. Alt Linux? Oh, okay. Alt Linux. Thank you, Troy. It's a community effort here. KDE Education is pretty important to the KDE supergroup because, for one, we attract new developers. We have a lot of our software is pretty easy to read and understand and help fix bugs in. Some of it not so much, but a lot of it is. And because we're such a small community, we are pretty friendly when new developers come around. So a lot of people that work on KDE and KDE Lives and some such have started by working on KDE Education apps and then moving up to work on the libraries or work on Conqueror or other things. We also attract lots of new users through the school systems because we're one of the only open source groups providing educational software. There's a lot of new users that come to KDE or at least come to Linux because of this. And now with KDE4 4.1 release, when we ship on Windows and on Mac, that will just explode that much more, because if schools are required to use Windows or required to use Mac or already have Mac, then they can just run KDE Edu apps directly on it. So I think we're going to see a big boom of users when this happens. And we also have something to show quickly. A couple of years ago, I guess, when the KDE4 libraries were just starting, a lot of the KDE Edu apps and KDE Games apps could be ported to the libraries and used to test the libraries quickly. And they also give those libraries a good workout. KDE Education has at least, let's see, I think last night I counted 6 or 7 applications that use K-Hot new stuff. And recently, before the 4.0 release, there were quite a few bugs in it. It had some issues with networking, and it actually exposed some bugs in KIO. So as we were testing our applications and finding these issues, we would tell the developers of KIO, and they were able to fix those things before the release because they were exposed. KDE4 has some new technologies that we're using. We're trying for more accessibility, so we use QSVG renderer to make all of our applications scalable. For example, in KDE 3.5, K-anagram, K-hangman, K-letters, they're all a static size window. Now we're using SVG graphics so that you can maximize the window, zoom in on it, and it's all still clear. We're also using Phonon quite heavily. Sound is pretty important to educational applications. You know, if it just blinks, the kids aren't going to like it as much as if it blinks and talks to them, you know. So we use Phonon quite a bit, actually, in KDE Edu. K-letters uses it exclusively almost to say the letters for the children to hear and then try to find it on the keyboard. And also K-Hot new stuff too. As I said, there are at least 6 applications that use it already, and I think KDE Games will follow with using it more, but it's very easy to put into KDE Edu and KDE Games apps because they all have a specific data format that they need to share back and forth, like vocabulary files for language apps and map data for Marble, for example. And on the subject of data, educational software is basically useless without data. If you have some software that is a wonderful flashcard program, but you don't have any flashcards for it, it doesn't help you. If you have a geography program, but it doesn't have names of the places on it, it's just looking at colored shapes, you know? Educational software needs data. And that's where K-Hot new stuff 2 comes in. It provides download from within the application. You've probably seen it in KDE 3 if you've ever downloaded a new wallpaper from the dialog where you can choose your wallpaper. It downloads wallpapers directly from kdelook.org and puts them in a place where it finds them in a list and you can choose them very easily. You don't have to go open your browser and come back, as Aaron said this morning, you know. Open the browser, put it on here, go find it, choose it as your desktop. It just is one click to install and then it's there. And Hot New Stuff 2 is also going to make it easy to share your data as well. So if you're a teacher of some English to Spanish class in, I don't know, California, and you make this long vocabulary file for Parlay, you can just upload that file if you choose to, and other teachers on any other part that of the world that want to use it can see it and download it and give it to their students as well. And it also allows easy collaboration. There's a lot of metadata that's associated with hot new stuff. For example, the author and the version. You can receive updates from it, and you can also translate the name or the title of the document or the wallpaper or whatever kind of data it is directly from within the dialog itself, which is very useful, because if you see some kind of a math data that someone in English makes and gives it an English name, call it the circumference of a circle or something for a geometry teacher, say. A Russian teacher who wants to use that probably wants to translate it into Russian so that their students don't have to understand all these math names from the other language, right? Have it in their local language. We have some cool applications new in 4.0. Well, some of them were released with 3.5. K-Algebra is an algebra application, obviously. It does plotting, it does quite a bit of algebra, and it also has a glossary. I'll show you a screenshot of it in a minute. STEP is a physics simulation that was created by some very talented physics students in Russia. And it actually started as a Summer of Code project, I believe. And then Parlay is actually K-Volk-Train with a new name and a new interface. It's been redone quite a bit, and actually in 4.1 it's even going to have docs and all these fancy things to make it easier to use. Marble we saw quite a bit today, probably. It's the World Atlas from Torsten and Inge, and 3 Google Summer of Code students helped them with that quite a bit last summer. And K-Stars is the classic KDE Edu application. I'll have Jason come up and talk about that in a minute. And the last one is Calcium. Calcium is a chemistry application that started as just a periodic table, but recently they got a 3D molecule viewer with so you can look at molecules put together and move them around in real space in front of you. I'll show you a screenshot of that as well. Here's K-Algebra. K-Algebra has this this console where you can do algebraic expressions and also graphing tabs. And then it's got that dictionary that shows a glossary of a whole bunch of algebraic terms, and like sine, cosine, what they mean, how they are used, and things like that. So it's kind of like a knowledge base built right in. And here's a screenshot of Calcium with the 3D molecule viewer. You can see, actually I don't know what this is, HMDS. But I think Karsten was saying that it's a standardized chemical format, the file format. So you can download these chemical molecule files. They're probably all over the place on the internet maybe, and see how chemicals are put together and made up. Let's see. Saw that. Okay, Parlay. This is actually pretty cool. In the topic of data, users can actually share their data with us now. It's not as easy as it will be, but you can send it to the mailing list or to the website, and we can put it up on the website. This is a user-contributed file that has 5 languages in it. It's got English, German, Spanish, Arabic, and Russian translations of all these words. Let's see. And so you can pick any 2 languages to practice and start practicing and enter something and say, I don't know that. And it also shows images if you put images in it. So it's quite useful. I use it to try to review Chinese characters that I learned a long time ago and have since forgotten. And it uses the Lightner box system to repeat the ones that you don't know more often than the ones that you do know. And then, let's see, there was something else I wanted to. Oh yeah, STEP. Okay, let's see. It's not step. Sorry. Okay, this is step. It's you can make objects and particles and all sorts of things, and give them initial velocity and initial rotation, and send them moving and watch it go. See, the authors showed it to us in Paris, and it's very refined. It's got a couple things left to try to work on, but I think it's going to be in the 4.1 release definitely. It'll be going in review soon. Let's see. And then Jason, do you want to come show K-stars a little bit? Yeah, let me switch the layout for you. Here, jump out.
Oh, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I better get Mike since. Okay, so is that good? K-stars is the desktop planetarium program for KDE. But another way to describe it is that K-stars is a graphical interface to a database. That's really sort of fundamentally, in terms of software, what it is. The database is all this information about objects in the sky. And the graphical interface is, as you would see if you just went outside and looked. So right now we're seeing the sky from St. George, Utah, because this is Jeremy's laptop. And it's the sky at St. George, Utah for 5:20 on the 18th of January, 2008. All those things can be changed. You can change the location. OK, so you've got some Dvorak keyboard thing going here, right? OK. Anyway, I'll use the menu like a real user would. So if you wanted to change your geographic location, you could go up to the settings menu and select geographic, and it gives you a nice map of the world. So you can either select by clicking in the map, or you can say, well, I know where I want to go. I want to go to, whoa, OK. That does not say Tucson. That's OK. It's OK. We don't need to do that. We'll just stay in St. George. It's not far from Tucson. So you can change the time. Let me just change the time to noon, because I want to show you one. The reason, one of the primary motivations, obviously, since we're in KDE Edu, is education. That's one of the things that we're focused on in K-stars. Now, it might not seem like really an educational application like Parler or CalZMR, but it really is. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this that it's really illuminating for celestial concepts for students and adults alike who might be interested. And one of those things that you can do is understand why we have seasons. So here it is January, and we're looking south at noon, and there's the sun. So it's that high in the sky. In fact, we can look at how high in the sky it is. The sun is now 32 degrees above the horizon. That's at noon. That's as high as it gets, basically, today. So if I set this time step to a day and let it go, what we're going to see is every scene you're seeing is a day after the last one. So right now we're in late February, going into March. You see the sun getting higher and higher in the sky every one of those days at noon. And as we head into summer, you see the sun is getting very much higher in the sky, which is why the days are longer in the summer and why it's warmer. So right there, we've already illustrated an important concept about our planet with this program. Other things you can do, you can learn about the planets. Let's zoom in. I trust the numbers are the same in Dvorak? OK. Let's go to the planet Jupiter, which is way over here. There it is. And we'll zoom on in, I think. Oh, plus is not the same. OK, hold on. I think I can do it. K-stars has many ways to do things. So there's Jupiter, and if I zoom in again, we'll get a better picture of its moons. So there's Jupiter and some of it, and 4 of its moons around. I'm going to change this to a more reasonable time step, maybe 5 minutes. And we'll let that go. Well, 5's too slow. Let's try 15. So here you see Jupiter and its moons going around. And this is accurate. If you went out with a telescope and looked at Jupiter at midnight on May 15th, that is the configuration of its moons that you would see in the telescope. One of the interesting things about this view for the student point of view is that the teacher can then say, well, when Galileo saw this in his telescope, this was the proof he needed for himself to realize that the Earth was not the center of the universe around which everything rotated, because these things are clearly going around Jupiter and not around the Earth. So this observation is of cosmological significance.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Something what I'd like to see when I look at this is a view from the top of Jupiter. Can you do that easily?
Well, that would be really nice, wouldn't it? Something like that. And it'd be nice if you could animate it too. Well, that would be nice. Why isn't it working? Oh, I know why. You know why? Because the time step is a day, which isn't very long on the scale of a solar system. So let's try a month. Is that still too slow? It might be because we're all the way zoomed out. OK, there they go. And we can also zoom in if the plus key worked, but I'll just leave it like that for now. It's fine, it's fine. And again, you can set any date you want here, so you can see what the configuration of the solar system is on any date. And the labeling is a little bit weird here. We didn't have time to clean that up, but we'll get a handle on that later. Anyways, do I have time to keep going, or are we?
You got about 3.5 minutes.
OK.
What about the moon orbiting around the Earth? Can you show that?
We don't have a top-down view of that at this point. Is that what you meant? One thing you can do, if I can get this to respond. There we go. Oh, hi. Whoa, it's right next to a cluster. That's lucky. I got to write down that date. That's right before my birthday. Awesome. What cluster is that? Let's see. That is M4, cluster in Scorpius. So let's see. Let's learn a little bit more about M4. This is what I mean about the database. This is a graphical interface to a very rich database of astronomical information. So I just did I did a right click on this cluster called M4, and I get this window, which gives me details about the object. I can get very detailed information about its position. I can look up the Wikipedia page on M4. And actually, there's even more advanced things that professional astronomers use, NASA-related databases that you can query on the basis of this object. Other things you can do through this context menu, if you get the click right, is, for example, you can pull down images off the internet right in the application here. Whoops. Try that again. Stalled. OK, anyway, it's a demo. It doesn't always work. Let me go. So, all right, I think I need to zoom out, actually, Jeremy. So can you help me find the minus key? Or I could just use the toolbar button, I suppose. Oh, there I go. OK. Perfect. OK, let's zoom out a bit. So that you saw that on May 20th, the moon looks a bit full. But let's go ahead and step ahead a bit and watch the moon traversing the sky. Now, this green line you see go by every once in a while, that's our horizon. I've switched the mode so that north is up instead of up being up. So every once in a while, you'll see the horizon go by. So this is the moon going across our sky as it orbits around the Earth. And we orbit around the sun in our common orbit. One thing you might notice here, let's make it go a little bit quicker so we can see the phase advancing too. So the phase of the moon, as many of you probably know, is just geometry. The moon is always half illuminated by the sun because that's the only source of light in the solar system. So whatever vantage point we are on the Earth looking at the moon, that determines what phase of illumination we see. So right now, as the moon's getting dark, that means that the moon is passing between us and the sun, so the one light source is illuminating the side that we don't see. And actually, if this brown line is called the ecliptic, and it traces where the sun is. So right there, you see the sun going by. So the moon is closer to us than the sun, so that's why we're seeing it backlit. Now this wobbling, you see the moon is not going straight across the sky. There's this wobbling back and forth as it goes. Does anyone know why that's happening? I am a teacher, actually. I'm an astronomer. So
That's not precession.
it's not precession. I'll give you a hint. That wobble happens once per day. It's because the Earth is not a point. We're on a point on its surface. So as the Earth goes around, our vantage point, it is parallax. I'm sorry. Did I say it wasn't? Yes, I did. You were absolutely right. It's parallax because, we're on a moving vantage point on the Earth. The Earth is spinning, so the direction toward the moon changes a little bit, and it results in that wobble. So even that part of it is reproduced in K-stars. And there goes nice nebula, which is also sort of shown on the map. I guess I'll just stop there, and we can move on.
Take a question.
Sure. Jason.
Yeah.
How about any plans to integrate Marble with K-stars?
Yeah, I've heard that a lot at this meeting, actually, and it's something that it makes so much sense that I think that's going to happen for sure.
And what about being able to view a map like Marble, but of the moon or of Venus?
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, at some level, it's just a matter of having another texture map and another locations database.
If people are very good during this next half year, we may actually integrate the map of the moon for 4.1.
We'll be good. Oh, you didn't mean that sense. Oh, you did. Okay, good.
I was actually talking to Torsten, who's the other Marble guy, about doing exactly this, and he said that basically it would end up being downloadable stuff through the hot new stuff for the additional globes. So, yeah.
You can probably get some interesting location stuff for the moon map as well.
On that same topic, I actually happen to know that there are some people at Moffett Field working on a similar thing for a more proprietary mapping thing. But NASA is generally very good about open sourcing, and it might be something you could talk to them about.
Another idea.
Not at the moment.
Another idea I heard, I think it was from you, is that it'd be cool in Marble to be able to click on a location and say, "Show me the sky" from that location. It's another way we can sort of try and merge those two.
Hi, I want to know if KDE Educational have something like iTunes U. You know what is?
iTunes U?
U. It's something new from Apple because Apple want to...
Oh, is it lectures?
Let me tell you. iTunes is for download music and iTunes U is something like the latest invention to download books from universities for educational for help. You can download books. You can download, for example, chapter 1 for the fundamental for Greek grammatics or something like that. I am telling you that you are hearing about that.
I know that Ocular has the ability to download ebooks, and I guess with not in 4.0. No, okay. Okay. Well, but that'll come back.
Yeah, I think that would be more an Ocular kind of thing.
This is planned to do that.
I don't know. Well, I think the downloads are certainly planned, but I don't know.
And uploads, GitHub users support uploads as well, right? So in theory, it's already possible. Oh well, as soon as it's enabled again.
Let's wrap that up because
Do
Jeremy.
you have anything else, Jeremy? No. Okay.
All right, let's put our hands together for Jeremy and Jason.